Tonight, you'll hear from candidates for president, vice president, treasurer, parliamentarian, advocacy chair, community service chair, and personal and professional development chair. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then will answer questions that have been shared with them prior to, relevant to the position in which they seek. The committee chair candidates will have a total of 3 minutes to answer 2 questions each, with the executive committee candidates answering 3 to 5 questions each. Questions will be accepted through the Q&A chat feature, so drop your questions to be answered at the end if time permits. I'm Crystal Jordan, and I will be moderating. We just in transparent for transparency purposes, our moderator actually had a death in the family, and he is traveling out of town. But we still have myself serving as moderator with elections committee member Chelsea Hall managing the time and any technology needs, as well as the chat. We will begin tonight's forum with our candidates for personal and professional development chair. And in that, we have with us William Ogletree and Jordan Waters. Jordan Waters actually had a pre-planned commitment, but she did send video. So we will be sure to play those videos so that you guys can hear from her as well. But we will go ahead and get started. And we will have Will provide his introduction.
Hey everyone, my name is William Ogletree. It's a pleasure to be here in front of all these emerging leaders and young professionals at the Urban League of Greater Atlanta for Young Professionals. I've been a member for a little bit over a year now, and it's like a full circle moment being on the other side of, okay, well, should I go ahead and join? And then I saw all the benefits of the Urban League. I'll give you guys a brief backstory. I'm in tech, but when I first heard about the Urban League, I was laid off and I was looking for a job for 6 months. And what I did was I went to all the networking events. I went to all the sessions. I lended my voice and my expertise and my opinions to a lot of the people here at the Urban League. And I was able to land a job at Cargill, where I currently work as a data engineer. Since then, I've been doing public speaking, have been featured in major news articles like Business Insider, and also Cargill themselves, my current company, featured me on their website, and they're a very large company. So I gained a lot of visibility. And I think that with personal and professional development, we should be gaining more access and visibility, especially as young professionals with not that much time. And we want to make sure that we are able to build wealth for ourselves and for our families. So that's why I'm so passionate about personal and professional development, a little bit about myself, and why I am a candidate for the personal and professional development chair for the Urban League of Greater Atlanta for Young Professionals.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
I will now share my screen and provide you all with Jordan Waters' introduction.
Greetings, my fellow YPers. My name is Jordan Waters, and I am humbled and honored to announce my candidacy for the 2025 2026 Personal and Professional Development Chair role for the Urban League of Greater Atlanta Young Professionals Chapter. Regrettably, I am unable to join you all live this evening, but I am grateful to the Elections Committee for the opportunity to connect with you via video. I became a member of this YP chapter during the 2024 Joint Week. I was intrigued by the community engagement, welcoming atmosphere, and the overall vision of the movement. In my first year, I toured around a few different committees to learn and see where I'd be most passionate to contribute. Ultimately, my tour bus stopped with PP&D as the place to be. Under my platform of igniting you to the third power, sparking leadership, and strengthening community, I plan to uplift members, unlock leadership, and unite voices. Well, how you say? To uplift members, I will offer empowerment sessions that promote personal growth and create opportunities for connectivity through networking events. To unlock leadership, I will organize leadership trainings and upskilling workshops and provide ways for members to practice their leadership within the organization. And to unite voices, I will amplify members during our general body meetings and encourage collaboration between all committees for increased engagement and development. To ensure their programs are accessible and relevant to members with diverse backgrounds, I will always lead with inclusion in.
Will someone write in the chat and let me know if that full video played? Okay. Thank you. I am going to ask you the first question, William. And after I do that, I will get a shareable link for you all so that everyone can listen to the questions that Jordan and William will both answer. So the very first question reads, how do you plan to ensure that our personal and professional development programs, are accessible and relevant to members with diverse backgrounds and interests?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. I'm a data guy, so I look at things in an analytical mindset. I think that right now, especially with everything going on in the economy, it has been more important than ever to be able to build those skills and see what is possible for a lot of people. Because when I tell you the thing that reeled me into the Urban League was one of the personal and professional development events that we hosted at Comcast. A lot of people have been to the Battery, but how many people do you think know the opportunity that they can just go into an office and see what it's like to be around industry professionals, to learn from them about what they can do in order to increase in their own careers. I think that because that reeled me in and it was relevant to what I'm looking for, I was yearning for learning more about leadership and speaking to mentors and advisors and industry professionals. I think that we should have more of that. And what I've done is it's an interesting thing about networking is that you want to build your friends before you need them. So what I've done is I've gone out to many different networking events. I've met so many different people in many different industries. And with those connections, I believe that I can open up a more wide range of locations that we can hold GBMs or networking events or mixers that would yield a great return on investment for the Urban League members, not just for the personal and professional committee, but then also for all the other committees and also just the members or prospective members who were interested in the Urban League.
Thank you, Will. And we will go to the second question. That question reads, Describe your approach to identifying and securing high quality speakers and facilitators for general body meetings who can deliver meaningful content.
Goes back to my last point about networking. I built a network that allows me to be in front of industry professionals. I myself am a public speaker, right? So I go and I meet people who are at Clayton State University, Georgia State, Georgia Tech, and I get to speak with them and understand like they have a really great message that a lot of people may not see, right? A lot of the stuff that you will see on social media that could potentially help you with your career isn't really being broadcasted. And I think that nothing can compare to actually being in front of somebody who can tell you exactly what you need to be on that roadmap, to have a mentor who has an emotional attachment to you and can speak to whatever industry that you're in. I know a lot of people in the medical industry, a lot of people who work in the government, despite everything that's going on in the economy, there's still a lot of opportunities. And I want us to be able to highlight that. And I know that we'll be able to do it.
Thank you. I am going to go back to the video. William, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I am going to try it again. Unfortunately, the link is restricted, so I can't share it with anyone with the link, but I am going to try it again and pray that it goes through. So bear with me, please.
Greetings, my fellow YPers. My name is Jordan Waters, and I am humbled and honored to announce my candidacy for the 2025 2026 Personal and Professional Development Chair role for the Urban League of Greater Atlanta Young Professionals Chapter. Regrettably, I am unable to join you all live this evening, but I am grateful to the Elections Committee for the opportunity to connect with you via video. I became a member of this YP chapter during the 2024 Joint Week. I was intrigued by the community engagement, welcoming atmosphere, and the overall vision of the movement. In my first year, I toured around a few different committees to learn and see where I'd be most passionate to contribute. Ultimately, my tour bus stopped with PP&D as the place to be. Under my platform of igniting you to the third power, sparking leadership and strengthening community, I plan to uplift members, unlock leadership, and unite voices. Well, how you say? To uplift members, I will offer empowerment sessions that promote personal growth and create opportunities for connectivity through networking events. To unlock leadership, I will organize leadership trainings and upskilling workshops and provide ways for members to practice their leadership within the organization. And to unite voices, I will amplify members during our general body meetings and encourage collaboration between all committees for increased engagement and development. To ensure their programs are accessible and relevant to members with diverse backgrounds, I will always lead with inclusion in mind. With that, one of the first orders of business for me is to conduct a listening session. I want to hear from you. What is most relevant to you? Are you finishing school? Are you early tenured in the workforce? Are you mid-level in your career? Are you looking for ways to pivot in your career? And based on that feedback, I will tailor inclusive programming and initiatives. As it pertains to general body meetings, not only will I tap into my professional network for speakers, but I want to ignite and empower you to use your voice and network as well. We are a group of intelligent Black people from all walks of life and various levels of expertise. I want you to use your voice and share your insights with members as well. Thank you so much for your time. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me with questions or ideas. I'm always available via Slack as well as email at Jordan J. Waters. That's Jordan, Jordan, JWATTERS at gmail.com. Now, I hope that you are feeling ignited and ready to uplift, unlock, and unite with me as your next personal and professional development chair. Remember, vote Jordan Waters for PPD chair this election cycle. Take care.
It is my hope that Xfinity cooperated and that played for you all. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So again, if you just hopped on, we just concluded our PPD candidate question portion. We will now head on to our community service chair portion, and we will receive an introduction from Princess Rains. The floor is yours, Princess.
I can't see myself. Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure. Hey, everybody. And that you guys can hear me. I am Princess Rains. I'm excited to be running for community service chair. I have been serving as a member for a very long time, pre-pandemic, since 2018. The end of 2018. I am an Atlanta native and healthcare professional. Over the past 5 years, I've had the privilege of serving as an entrepreneur, as an outdoor event planner, as well as over the last 18 years, serving as a large-scale event planner for weddings, concerts, college events, and allowing myself to blend all of my skills with my passion for project management and service. I've had the pleasure of coordinating service events from personal efforts to small, intimate group size settings to large arena size events here in the city of Atlanta with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta Young Professionals. My passion is to bring people together to serve, whether that's through one-time service days or ongoing projects that leave a real impact. So as your community service chair, I'll continue to focus on consistent, well-organized initiatives that unite our membership and partners while exploring fresh, innovative ways to give back. So I'm eager to keep building the YP legacy here in Atlanta of service, and I'd be honored to earn your support and your vote.
Thank you, Princess. We have 2 questions for you. The very first, how will you ensure that all community service events align with the National Urban League of Greater Atlanta, and Urban League Greater Atlanta Young Professionals mission while addressing relevant community needs? That was a lot.
Sure. I'll start with our pillars from economic empowerment, youth and education, health and quality of life, civic engagement, our civil and racial justice, but staying plugged into the city's needs and keeping our members' needs and our members' ideas first and at the forefront. By centering the mission first and then identifying our urgent community needs, I can plan events alongside the committee that are both value aligned and relevant. Also using feedback from our members and past participants to help refine programming and ensure our work is intentional and not just active.
Thank you. And last question for you. How would you collaborate with other organizations and or community partners to enhance the reach and impact of ULGA-YP's community service efforts?
Yeah, but just keeping our rapport going on. So collaboration isn't just about relationship building. It's more about just relationship building and not just showing up when people need something. So keeping those relationships strong, not just waiting for others to come and support us, but making sure we're supporting too. It's a partnership to make sure we're pouring back into the city. There is a huge need here in the city. So making sure that we're showing up for others as well, that we're listening, proactively working together, again, to address our real needs right now, especially as we're navigating the changes that we have in 2025.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Princess. We will move on to our advocacy chair candidate. And we will have an introduction from her. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, and good evening, YPs. So my name, if you don't know, is Sade Hurst. I am your candidate for advocacy chair. Currently, I do serve as the advocacy chair. And we have had great momentum within this term of advocacy. And so I want to keep that momentum going for advocacy. Right now, I think our focus should be expanding our community engagement, leveraging our partnerships and communications, and driving meaningful change. So that will be my focus for the year. I will be doing that how I've been doing it before, by using my skills as someone who is a former journalist who has covered politics, local politics to be clear, and state politics. That's from Albany, Georgia, all the way up to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also a former government employee. So being a communications specialist in that space, you kind of have to know a little bit of everything. And then in my current role as a strategist. And so I have built out a strategy for this coming term where we will be addressing those three strategies to basically better improve our community. We are facing a tough road ahead. And so I want to be your chair that helps you through this, but also energizes you and motivates you, especially during the times where we are feeling challenges within our community.
Thank you, Sade. Your very first question. Explain how you would balance nonpartisan voter education with advocacy for issues important to our community.
Yeah, so I feel like, that's a practice that is well known to me, because believe it or not, when you go into J school, you are supposed to be nonpartisan. So, for example, if we ever hosted a debate, both parties have to be invited. That is mandatory. If we invite a representative of a party, we have to invite a representative of the other party. And so that's what I would do as chair. I feel like we have been doing that where we're not looking for a person of a certain party. We're looking for someone who aligns with our messaging and aligns with our mission of the Urban League.
Thank you for that. We appreciate the time. We are going to move on to our parliamentarian candidate. We'll ask that you introduce yourself, and then we'll go with the first question.
Thank you, President Jordan. Good evening, everyone. First, I just want to thank you guys for being here. I know it is the middle of the week, and the fact that you are here shows that you care about your leadership. That's really important. I'm glad you guys took the time out to hear what we have to say. For those who don't know, my name is Rashad Christie. I currently serve as parliamentarian, former community service chair. And I'll just be really quick. I really just want to make sure we continue the momentum we started since I've been in this position. As parliamentarian, you don't see me often, but there's a lot of work we do in the background, just making sure that our meetings are in order, making sure we're handling the procedures the right way when dealing with members and leadership, and just making sure that if you don't hear about parliamentarian work, that's good. That means we're keeping it solid and we're doing what we need to do. So I'd love to get into the questions and just kind of get right into it. We can talk more there.
Sounds good. Very first question. How would you ensure that meetings of the executive committee, executive leadership team, and general body are conducted in an orderly and efficient manner?
Thank you for that question. Two things that a parliamentarian needs to have is rapport and respect. Those two qualities are things that they need to have to make sure that they can operate within an organization. And I believe through my tenure here in my former roles and as a general body member, I've gained that from the general body and from our ELT, which allows me to lead in this role seamlessly. It allows me to keep order through enforcing our rules of order for our meetings by simply letting people know, like, hey, your time's up, it's time for us to move on, or hey, you can't, this is not the time to bring up that topic, there's another time to do that. And I feel like since I've been able to gain that rapport and respect from my fellow leaders, they don't see anything that I bring to them as an issue. They don't see it as it being personal. It's strictly just professional and the rules that we need to follow to operate efficiently as an organization. And I believe in my tenure, since I've been in this role, I've been able to see people's appreciation for that, whether it's something as simple as getting out of a meeting on time or doing the proper motions to make sure that we get an order passed so that we can start meetings or we can move something into effect. So I'll say I'll continue to do what I've done before and just enhance that a little bit more with educating people about the rules of Robert Rules or how they can go about learning it themselves rather than waiting for me to enforce it or say call it out, and giving them something of like a cheat sheet where they can refer to it and be like, okay, this is how I operate in this setting. This is how I properly go about recommending this. Or if I have a bylaw that I want amended, this is the proper route I should go to. I'm all about empowering our members, both ELT and general body, so that when they get into their next position, whether it be leadership or something else, they know how to operate in those settings. They've had the proper training and the proper information shared with them from informed leaders that allows them to thrive in their next platform.
Thank you. We'll go on to question number 2. What strategies would you use to educate ULGA-YP members about proper meeting protocols and basic parliamentary procedure without being overly rigid?
Yes. Dang, I should have saved the second half of my answer. But yes, thank you for that question. So one thing that I did coming into the role, thank you to our former parliamentarian, our current President Jordan, was read the book on Robert's Rule of Order, literally, to get a firm understanding myself before I can enforce it with others. And from that, I wouldn't say everyone needs to read the book, but I feel like there are key points of Robert's Rule of Order that people should know just for any setting. So my vision is to provide cheat sheets, very quick kind of quick reference guides, digital, of course, because nobody wants printed sheets of paper anymore, but provide that to people to reference when they have a question about something, so that they can learn themselves and self-teach rather than being afraid to say something in a meeting because they don't want to say it the right way or say it the wrong way and be corrected publicly. Maybe they just want to have that private time for them to learn it and then have practice in those formal settings. So that's the biggest thing I have is cheat sheets, giving those to people, and then also keeping my door open to people who actually want to learn. If you have something that you're interested in, or you're like, well, I have this question. I know we haven't done this as a group yet, but I'm very interested in how we would handle this if this was to happen. I think the parliamentarian role is one that, as I mentioned earlier, is not one that people see a lot or hear a lot about, but I really want to bring my personality to the role and show that it's welcoming, it's inviting, and I'm open to answering those questions you have and guiding you through the process. I know this is not a question, but I do want to address this. I know one reason why I feel, as you can see on this candidate slate, not every position is someone's running for it. And I'll say that's a lot of that is just because people aren't as informed about the process. Oh, dang. Okay. Overtime. I'm sorry.
Thank you. And the third question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Describe a time when you had to enforce rules or protocols in a group setting. How did you balance maintaining order with fostering a positive environment, all while remaining neutral and objective?
Yes, thank you for that question. The main thing that I can say for enforcing rules is time. One thing that I love about our bunch is that we can get together and we can talk, and then we can talk about something else, and then talk about something else, which is great because that means that we enjoy being with each other. We enjoy each other's space and having that time with each other, but also we want to respect each other's time. So the primary example of this is just making sure that we are hitting agenda items on time, similar to what Chelsea is doing for this meeting, make sure I don't overtalk parliamentarian training probably. But that's the main thing, is just being respectful with it and finding ways to just enforce the rules without having your personality in it. I feel like people take things personal when they're like, all right, now, if I'll say you're talking too much, it's time to go to the next thing, you're wasting our time. If you are consistent with how you handle every situation with every person, people see that you're simply enforcing the rules and you're not trying to impart yourself onto them and embarrass them. So that's the main thing, is make sure we're on time and we're on topic, and while providing leeway, because you don't want to be too strict to where people are like, okay, now we just started talking about this, you're only 10 seconds over. Gives that leeway while still enforcing So that way people have their respect for you, but also appreciate the fact that you value their time and you're keeping things going.
Thank you, Rashad. And for those who are on right at 6:30, I told you that I am filling in for our moderator. And clearly I'm doing a terrible job at this because I completely did not give Sade Hurst her second question. So with that, we won't do the introduction all over again, but I'm going to ask her same questions again, or that first question again, and then we'll jump to the second. So sorry for that, Sade.
It's totally fine.
The first question was, explain how you would balance nonpartisan voter education with advocacy for issues important to our community.
Yeah, of course. So as I said, I am a former journalist, and believe it or not, in J school, you are trained to be objective. And so how we approach, inviting any of our guests is making sure that number one, they are talking in line of, what our mission is, what our values are, but also bringing a perspective that, may be different, right? So we want to bring that in. And then number two, if we ever have any types of debates or anything like that, it is mandatory for us to offer an opportunity for both parties. We only have two parties technically in Georgia, and so we want to offer it to both. If there's a third, we also want to offer it to the third party as well.
Thank you. And question number two.
Yes.
How would you build relationships with elected officials, community leaders, and other organizations to advance the advocacy goals of ULGA-YP?
Yeah, I feel like I would build the relationships as I build any other relationship, right? So, that is going out for a coffee and talking with them, sending them an email. Sometimes I will not say I'm 100% on it all the time, but I will say every person that we've had that has come and talked to us from an advocacy capacity, I always send them an email thanking them and then also reminding them what we do as the Urban League of Greater Atlanta YP and say, hey, here are other opportunities where we would like to, be a part of if you have those opportunities and what we do. And so I would just continue that and then also continue our partnerships as well, and grow those. I've noticed there are a couple that, align with us. And so I would want to grow those as well just by doing cold calls, sending them messages. I see most of them on Instagram, right? So sending them on messages on Instagram or sending them messages through email if they have an email. And so that's how I would build relationships with not just our politicians, but with new partners, current partners, and more.
Thank you. And again, so sorry, Sade.
No
Glad
problem.
we're able to get that back in there.
Thank you.
Next up will be our treasurer candidate. We will have an introduction followed by 3 questions.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear. Sound good.
Perfect. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Noble. I currently serve as the secretary here at ULGA-YP. As many of you know, I am originally from New Jersey. When I had the opportunity to move to Atlanta, I was looking for a community where I could get involved, get connected into the city, and really get plugged into something meaningful. That's when I learned about Urban League. And in 2024, right after the trip to Selma, that's when I knew I wanted to be a part of this community. That experience for me was powerful, and it immediately made me feel connected to the mission, the people, and the impact that we can make together. Honestly, this past year has been nothing short of amazing. I've had the opportunity to participate in community service events, get engaged in advocacy, and really build relationships with so many of you. I've also had the honor, as I've stated, to serve as the secretary, which has shown me the power and the potential that we have as an organization. Now that I have the opportunity to run for treasurer, I want to help elevate our operations with transparency, thoughtful budgeting, and a collaborative partnership. And also just a little bit about me. I bring over 5 years of leadership experience in sales, project management, and operations. I also serve as a chapter lead for the Black ERG at my company, and I have a strong foundation in strategy, organization, and community engagement. ULGA-YP gave me a home here in Atlanta, and I want to give back by helping us operate at our highest level. I'm excited for the opportunity to serve, and I'll be honored to own your vote as treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. First question. Describe your experience with financial management, including budgeting, accounting, and reporting, preferably within a nonprofit organization.
Perfect. Thank you for the question. So I will be honest, this is my first time working in a nonprofit space. My direct experience comes from corporate. As I've stated, I have a background in operations, project management, sales, and leadership. However, my day-to-day involves managing budgets, overseeing cost control, and also doing reporting where my reporting does need to treat up to senior leadership. So I manage budgets for our entire organization. However, having the opportunity to serve as a secretary is giving me more insight. And it's also allowed me to see how important it is. Money flows differently in a nonprofit. In corporate, you kind of have a plethora of it. In a nonprofit, you don't really know if you're going to have the same investors this year or the next year. So for me, I really want to be able to be thoughtful with my approach. Every dollar counts, and it's our responsibility to be thoughtful with those resources. If elected treasurer, I plan to build on what's already been in place by introducing simple, effective processes to ensure clarity and accuracy and consistency. So, leveraging on my corporate experience to help drive change forward. Also, just to make sure that we keep the best interests of our members in mind. What we do, we want to empower our members. We want them to be excited about things that events that they come to. So my job is to really leverage that experience and make this treasurer role the best role. I don't only want to impact the 2 years that I serve, but I want to impact whoever comes in next. You want to leave it better than when you got there. So that's my goal.
Perfect. Question 2, how would you work with the executive leadership team to develop and manage the organization's budget, ensuring that funds are allocated, and spent in accordance with the organization's priorities?
Absolutely. So as treasurer, I definitely want to take a proactive and transparent approach. Transparency is key in anything in any organization. So my first priority would be to understand what the current landscape is. So what does it look like? Reviewing past budgets. Reviewing current commitments and upcoming priorities. A big thing for me is really clarity. So, yes, it will take me some time to understand, but I have the time. I care about this organization and I'm putting care into it. But I really want to be able to collaborate with each committee member and collaborate with the executive committee to be able to understand what our goals are and align funding based on impact, engagement, and strategic value. I believe that budgeting should be shared, and I think that it should be an inclusive process. So I want to make sure that everybody feels involved in it. I have no problem taking time out of my day to explain what something means. If there's a committee member, a committee chair that doesn't understand something, let's get on the phone, let's talk about it. So I really want to make sure that I'm thoughtful with the information that I'm sharing. In our meetings, I want to make sure that everybody understands the impact that we have, where our dollars are coming from, what we're doing with our money. And I want to make sure that every voice is heard. So once our budget is finalized, I want to be able to go through and, like I say, provide consistent updates. I want to make sure that they have access to see where we are monthly, where we are quarterly, and where we are with the year, because everything that we do counts, and I want them to understand how much our budget plays into their day-to-day.
And question number 3. The role of treasurer is a fiduciary requiring constant contact and open lines of communication with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta finance staff. How will you ensure seamless communication between one another and maintain the strong relationship of trust and responsibility established as the YP auxiliary?
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand that the role of treasurer is not only about managing numbers. It's about maintaining a strong, transparent, and collaborative relationship with our affiliate staff and across all spaces, right? So it's with our ELT as well. Um, we have communication. We should be able to leverage it, y'all. So for me, that is picking up a phone, having a conversation, sending emails. If it's somebody whose phone number I have, sending a text message to make sure that there's seamless communication. I want to make sure that we have consistency. I want to make sure that we have clarity and that, I'm responsive. We need to be consistent. We can't afford to make mistakes, right, when it comes to our money because every dollar counts. So for me, I want to make sure that I am driving consistency and clear communication and transparency across all spaces. For me, if that involves setting up regular check-ins to make sure that we can go through our budget, to make sure that there's no discrepancies, I am okay with that. I would also ensure that any documentations or requests are submitted on time. I would make sure that I am reinforcing my partnerships and driving those relationships. If you know me, y'all know I'm friendly. I will come up to you. I have no problem reaching out to anybody, nor do I have problems asking questions. But I believe in building that relationship. That relationship will allow me to build trust. And that trust will also lead to open communication. And that open communication will ultimately make this role better. So my goal is to uphold the integrity of the treasurer role and to strengthen that relationship between ULGA and ULGA-YP through communication, reliability, and a shared commitment to our mission.
Thank you, Stephanie. We will move on to our vice president candidate. We'll have an introduction and then 3 questions answered. The floor is yours.
All right, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sounds good.
All right. Good evening, ULGA-YP family. My name is Russ Hill, and I'm honored to be here before you today as candidate for vice president of this incredible organization that I've proudly served since 2018. I'm a native Atlantan, and I have a deep understanding of this city, this movement, and how important the work the Urban League here does in this community. Many of you all have worked alongside me in this movement, whether that's been as community service chair across various committees on the IT National Committee, with me as far as I've been with chief of staff this past administration, seen me at GBMs running around the back or at different events handling logistics from dream catchers to a number of different things that we do here in the city. Um, it's an honor to be in this position, and my platform is really rooted in 3 core pillars: hope, harmony, and hub. Each kind of representing not only what I believe we need to grow, but also what we must embody to lead during these historic times. Hope being about inspiration and impact. Now more than ever, people look to the Urban League and people like us to be the torchbearers and guide our communities during tough times. I want to continue empowering our members and the greater Atlanta community by fostering a culture of resilience, optimism, and purpose driven leadership, especially in spaces where our voices, our stories, and our brilliance matters the most. Harmony in speaking to how we move as one through programming, intentional community engagement, and deepened partnerships. We cultivate unity and align our work with our mission to uplift and mobilize our young Black professionals across Atlanta. And Hub is about building community and power, working alongside our board to solidify the Urban League as a go to space for innovative solutions to our problems, leadership development, and high impact programming. We will be the place where people come to connect with opportunity, with each other, and with a larger purpose. This is the Urban League. With 100 years of experience, ULGA going on 25 years being in this community, we are the change makers. We are the moment. We are more than just leadership. It's about legacy. So I'm running for vice president because I believe in what we've built and I see the limitless potential where we can go together. So thank you.
Thank you, Russ. The very first question: engagement, support, and retention of committee chairs is crucial. What strategies would you employ to motivate, support, and empower each committee chair to achieve their goal?
Thank you for that question. If elected as vice president, I'll approach leadership with a people first mindset, grounded in hope, as I was saying, empowering each chair by reinforcing their purpose, celebrating their wins, and helping them connect their efforts to our larger mission. I'll conduct regular check-in one-on-ones, provide resources and support for event planning, and ensure that they have the tools, mentorship, and cross-collaboration that they need to succeed, as well as fostering a safe space for innovation and feedback. Whether that's from continuing to push for earlier planning, the importance of work plans and milestones, and then building trust with their committee members to allow for greater collaboration in efforts to ensure the success of events and as well less stress on our chairs. By doing this, we will grow this leadership. We'll be able to grow our leadership bench, be able to create lasting momentum when it comes to developing our current leaders, as well as creating future leaders for succession in this movement.
Thank you for that. Question number 2. State how you will support the president to uphold the MUL, ULGA, and ULGA-YP missions, all while ensuring that the chapter goals are met and the presidential vision is achieved.
So, when thinking about how to support the president in that manner, that means being a strategic and dependable partner in this executive leadership position, being able to understand how that translate from their vision, the dream, into actual execution. I, if elected president, will help drive that alignment across committees, monitoring our programming and our chairs, and being able to serve as extension of the president's leadership to ensure our organizational continuity. By keeping the pulse on engagement, program execution, and operational help, I will ensure our work aligns with the broader missions of the National Urban League, ULGA as our affiliate, and as well as our organization and our goals. This all occurs from early planning from the start of the new administration. Setting reasonable and attainable goals while also setting stretch goals of where we would really like the organization to be by the time the administration concludes. Supporting the president vision and the goals of the affiliate and ULYP, while a lot is something that requires continuous communication to allow us flexibility to handle things and also the adaptability to be able to move quickly and to be able to help grow the organization and deliver our mission. Thank you.
Awesome. And question number 3. Or no, because there we go. How would you prepare yourself to potentially step into the president's role at any moment?
So I take that responsibility of vice president very seriously, knowing that the readiness is a part of the role. I know that staying closely involved with strategic planning, affiliate relations, and board governance definitely to ensure continuity if that ever was necessary. We never want to expect that, but it's always something that we have to be prepared for. Um, it's also being able to understand at times that life happens, and this is an organization where we are all one body. So we're one time, and another people have different things going on, and we have to be able to adapt and step up and help across that board. We take that on, myself and as well as the whole board, to make sure that the mission and the goals of the organization are met. So being able to collaborate with the board and our community to ensure the alignment, and as a part of building this hub that is the Urban League and continuing to grow it by being able to be a consistent engagement member with our members and having that open line of communication there, so I can step in and lead from a place of trust, preparation, and stability, but also being able to have that vision to be able to execute what was identified and what we want to evaluate and be able to have as our overall goal before the end of the administration, and still reach those goals no matter who is in charge. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We will now move to our presidential candidates. We will hear an introduction from both, followed by 5 questions answered. Jeffrey Lofton, you have the floor.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. I hope that you leave not only informed, but also inspired by what is discussed. Now, I joined YP in desperate need of an outlet and community of like-minded young professionals that shared my passion for economic empowerment, politics, and service. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have served as a member, economic empowerment chair, and currently as vice president. And in alignment with our mission and empowerment goals, I have 4 pillars that I would like to highlight briefly. The first being a legacy of leadership. By honoring the past, investing in our present, and leading for the future, we will ensure that we are a beacon of service and leadership for our community, providing space for leadership growth, development, and mentorship that will ultimately supply Atlanta's next set of transformational leaders in business, community, and elected office. We will also ensure purposeful partnerships. The challenges that we face today require that we are mission-driven and focused. As potential resources dry up, we will need to steward partnerships and relationships with organizations and groups that align with our organizational mission and find ways to further collaborate to make an impact. We will also need to make sure that we ensure a fortified relationship with our affiliate to support their success and service to our community in this ever-changing climate, which leads to community consciousness. Our mantra is empowering communities and changing lives. In order to do this, we must be a consistent presence that is both active and aware of our communities and what they are currently facing. Lastly, we will establish a culture of appreciation where we will look for a reason to celebrate and say thank you, because none of us is being paid to be here. So it's important that our sacrifices and contributions are celebrated and appreciated out loud. And for more information about me and my vision for the chapter, please feel free to visit my website at leadwithlofton.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram at Jeffrey Lofton. Thank you all, and I look forward to our discussion.
Thank you. We will now have an introduction from presidential candidate Sally Stacker.
Hi, everyone. It is my esteemed privilege to be speaking here in front of you today as your presidential candidate for this chapter. I'm running for president because I believe that it is time for us to think bigger of ourselves and bigger of our chapter. I served across cities, chapters, both nationally and locally, and I've already reshaped how our own chapter shows up in the world. But my campaign isn't about what I've done, it's about what we need next. In this political climate, this isn't the time to shrink. This is the time for us to rebuild and reestablish our presence as the leading co-ed organization for young Black professionals. It's time for us to reconnect with our purpose and most of all, reconnect with our members. I'm running not to maintain the status quo. I'm running to lead us into the next chapter and to make sure every member feels that they're part of something bigger and something that is bold, intentional, and can stand on our lasting legacy.
Thank you. We'll stay with you, Sally, with question 1.
Sure.
With the current state of social justice being a pressing concern, what steps do you plan to take as president to ensure that ULGA-YP plays an active role in addressing and communicating these issues both internally and externally?
Absolutely. As a PR professional, I've never been shy of holding my tongue in different spaces. I've been a longstanding advocate for DEI throughout my career. And as we're seeing the cuts to DE&I, I know our members personally have felt the pressure that we're all facing right now. To beat this, we must give our members the tools and resources they need to upskill and develop themselves to not only survive during this time, but to thrive. With that, we need to be strategic with our programming and making sure that we're collaboratively working with other organizations so we can all make an impact that's bigger than one chapter can do alone.
Thank you. We have the same question for you, Jeffrey. Would you like me to repeat?
Yes, please.
With the current state of social justice being a pressing concern, what steps do you plan to take as president to ensure that ULGA-YP plays an active role in addressing and communicating these issues, both internally and externally?
Thank you for the question. And so this is where I mentioned community consciousness and purposeful partnerships, and they will be key here. We have to be in the rooms where these discussions are held and activations are catalyzed. Being represented in these spaces will allow us to be a source of leadership on these issues. I've had the opportunity to be a part of some of the conversations and will continue to lean into that experience as president. This is also an opportunity to put our members on, knowing that the strengths and expertise of our leadership and membership. I will be able to elevate the resident experts in influential spaces. And so I propose active engagement with groups such as Partnership for Southern Equity, Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, Ohio River South, the American Civil Liberties Union, otherwise known as ACLU, and another group which is called Kindred Futures, which is actually used to be called the Atlanta Wealth Building Initiative. And we'll look to partner with others to offer opportunity for us to not only hear about the problem, but to be participants in the vitality of the solution. So that's my answer to that. Sorry.
Thank you. And we'll stick with you for the next question. Question 2, Jeffrey. Describe your strategy for building and maintaining strong relationships with the affiliate, the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, ensuring alignment and collaborative efforts to maximize impact between both.
Thank you for the question. And so we will maintain consistent and value-added presence on board meetings, committee meetings, and event planning calls. Let me pause and say, our most important partnership is that partnership with the affiliate. And we will honor our stated contribution goals. We'll keep ULGA Day and honor the complimentary membership status that we've been able to establish for ULGA employees that fall within that age group of 21 to 40. We'll also ensure that we support signature events in presence and financial contribution, including the Super Saturdays that we have twice a year, Meet the Money People, Equal Opportunity Day, and Spirit of the League Luncheon. Last year, we started to include the affiliate in our sponsorship and partnership packets, and now they do the same for us, and we'll keep that practice. I'll also continue to leverage my personal network to help them expand their network in the region. Last year, I was able to connect them to Shadowbox Studios. Y'all have watched Marvel movies before? Yeah, so I was able to connect them to Shadowbox. That's in DeKalb County, by the way. And that resulted in a production assistance training program through the affiliate's Youth and Young Adult Services Division. So I look to build upon that and continue that going forward.
Thank you. Sally, same question. Describe your strategy for building and maintaining strong relationships with the affiliate, the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, ensuring alignment and collaboration efforts to maximize impact between both.
Yes. So to maximize impact, one thing that we need is full membership buy-in. One of my goals as president was to be ensure both ELT and members are aligned on the impact that we have on the affiliate. As Jeffrey mentioned, there are a lot of partnerships that we do throughout the year, but probably our most visible is ULGA Day. That cannot be the only touch point where our members are seeing our impact and partnership with the affiliate. With that, I would love to invite members of the affiliate to be guest speakers at our ELT meetings. This allows for our ELT members to feel aligned and truly part of the overall mission. That would and then empower them to share that mission with their committee members. Because when everybody is empowered and we move on one accord, then we can all understand the impact of us donating our services, both in hours and monetarily.
Thank you. And we'll stay with you for question number 3. Sally, how will you balance the responsibilities of internal leadership and the external demands of representing the organization at community events, public forums, affiliate board responsibilities, etc.?
For me, balance is about structure. It's about giving your team the tools where they can lead alongside you, because it's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things and doing them well. Also, with my experience with over a decade in public relations, I am no stranger to leading in public forums. I've led billion-dollar clients, and I will lead with the same grace as I do with Urban League.
Thank you. Jeffrey, how will you balance the responsibilities of internal leadership with the external demands of representing the organization at community events, public forums, affiliate board responsibilities, etc.?
Thank you for the question. I'm gonna start with one word: alignment. And I just gotta pause. Y'all know me. I got to pause and thank God for a job that literally supports this work. They know the time demands that and see the value of our work. So it's been a seamless time really to engage in YP as part of my work because it directly aligns with the mission of my role in equitable economic development. And I'll also plan to lean in on and trust our team as we work together to execute our strategy. I believe in delegation and allowing folks to operate in their roles because I trust my team to deliver.
Thank you. And we'll stay here with you, Jeffrey. Question number 4. Fundraising is a critical component of the president's role. Outline your approach to developing and executing successful fundraising strategies to support the chapter's initiatives and programs.
Thank you for the question. And so first thing I would love to do, of course, with the support of the executive committee and ELT, I'll move to have a fund development officer, which is essentially making the fund development chair role a 2-year role. I don't think 1 year is enough time for them to build and establish adequate relationships. Funding partnerships take time, so we want to be sure that we give space and resources. So what we'll do, we're looking to establish multi-year partnerships. And we'll also keep and refresh a sponsorship deck and have a pitch team, which is that fund development committee, to help land partnerships. We'll also add a line item in the budget so that they have some money to be able to court potential partners.
Thank you. Same question. Fundraising is a critical component of the president's role. Outline your approach to developing and executing successful fundraising strategies to support the chapter's initiative and programs.
I love this question because I believe that it is time for us to think innovatively to our approach for fundraising. Mostly right now, our fundraising relies on our events like Holiday Soiree and Dream Catchers. But we can no longer rely on the old-fashioned premise that events will sustain us throughout the year. That's why I am proposing that we put forth a new chair, which is the partnership chair, which would focus on building value-based partnerships with local businesses and retailers throughout the city. This partnership would be threefold. Our official YP partners would pay a nominal fee to be part of our official partner list. In return, we would do advertising for them throughout the year, and they would provide our membership with exclusive perks and discounts. So we will have a membership benefit as well as supporting the local economy, as well as earning money for YP to sustain our programming and our Dreamcatchers Scholarship Fund.
Thank you. And we'll stay here and wrap it up with question number 5. Given the number of young professional organizations that serve the same or similar groups of people in the city of Atlanta, how do you plan to continue the ULGA-YP legacy of being Atlanta's premier co-ed young professional organization?
Well, to maintain our legacy, we must reestablish our legacy. It is something that has been diminishing in the past years. Our current leadership likes to tell us that numbers don't lie. So I would like to provide a few numbers. Since 2020, we have lost over 50% of our membership, nearly 30% happening within the last 2 years under current leadership. The numbers are telling us that we are no longer premier. But here is some encouraging numbers. Over the past 8 months since I've been in my role, we have improved our social media engagement on Instagram over 100%. We have improved our LinkedIn engagement to up to 14%, which is 9 times the global rate for those in our category. And we have emerged on new platforms like TikTok and Threads. The numbers are telling us that this is not a community that is disengaged or disinterested in making an impact. The numbers are telling a story of a community that is not seeing a return with their membership in our chapter. With that being said, to reestablish our legacy, my platform is member focused. We have to show them through development, transparency, and real community that their presence here matters. And when that is felt, they do all the promotion for us. They show up to events, they give us their time, and they give us their money. And that is what my platform is focused on.
Thank you. Question 5. Given the number of young professional organizations that serve the same or similar groups of people in the city of Atlanta, how do you plan to continue the ULGA-YP legacy of being Atlanta's premier co-ed young professional organization?
Thank you for the question. And I'm going to use 3 words here: mission critical niche. We're going to be the best us. And that is an organization that is unapologetically committed to the economic empowerment of Black people. And we do that by empowering our members through professional and leadership development, which then allows them to go and empower our community. We'll also look to expand upon our efforts in support of aspiring and current entrepreneurs through grants and hiring events for YP business owners.
Thank you. That concludes the candidate question portion of our forum. We will now read questions that were received from members during the event's registration, as well as any that were in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so this question came from the registration and it's for our potential president. So VP Lofton, would you like to go first?
Let's go.
Okay, so the question is, what is one critical area of ULGA-YP that needs to?
All right. I think I was able to make out that part of the last question there. And I'll break this kind of down into 3 parts. And that's first part is burnout, member disengagement, and fatigue. Let's be honest, we all know it. We do a lot, and we are a group of what I like to call hammers. And when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. We do a lot and try to do it on our own, which can be draining and discouraging at times. We established the Chair Pair program at the beginning of this term to offer an added layer of support for our committee chairs in the combined meetings so that everyone has access to committee members. And this has helped with cross-committee collaboration and leader retention, but we still move at a bit of a frantic pace. And that frantic pace places a lot on the shoulders of our leaders and reduces our opportunities to build authentic connection and relationship. So, through leveraging partnership and collaboration with our affiliate and other organizations in this effort, we can free up space on our calendars for more connection between leaders and members. I believe that this will help build rapport among our leadership team and between our leadership team and general membership. We will also honor seasons of rest. Humans were not created to just go nonstop. You know, we ain't human doings, we're human beings. So we will maintain a pattern of winter and summer breaks for our leadership just to be. And automation and process optimization on the back end will help us as well. So we'll keep the Innovation and Technology Ad Hoc Committee to assist with that.
Thank you so much for that, Chair Slicker. I will repeat the question. It is, what is one critical area of ULGA-YP that needs to improve, and how do you plan to address it?
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, my biggest problem I see in YP is member retention. This is in fact the lowest membership that we've seen in the past decade. If we continue on this trajectory, YP does not exist within the next 5 years, let alone the next 25. My plan prioritizes transparency. That starts off with establishing town halls so members always have a line of sight into our mission and our goals and how we're moving together, and being able to add a layer of accountability to question us and challenge us and push us forward. Even if not elected into this position, I encourage everyone, every member on this call, to hold your leadership accountable and make sure that you're being represented and that your goals are being met. Additionally, we need more meaningful development. Right now, our PPD has been siloed to GBMs, not allowing us to plan for true developmental programs. I would love to open that up where every programmatic chair helps plan these GBMs that give us a wider range of network to pull from speakers, as well as a diversity in programming. And lastly, I would love to see a more connected membership, more opportunities for members to engage. With that, I would love to reestablish our YP Fit Chair, especially now that there are national awards for it. This is an opportunity for us to engage in a healthy way and build relationships in a way that is not dedicated to our networking and service programs. And with that, that is how I plan to re-engage membership and have them feel truly invested and seen as a member in YP.
Thank you so much for that. So the next question, I'm going to pose it to everyone. And if you need me to repeat it when it's your turn, I have no problem. So the person said, I would love to hear about your visions for programming during your tenure and about your plans for organization growth. So William, would you like to go first?
Absolutely love that question. I think as a professional and personal development, it really ties into my role currently as on the National Urban League for Young Professionals in leadership training and development, where we're creating programming. And I think we should bring some of those programs to the Greater Atlanta Young Professionals chapter. Programming, mixers, networking opportunities, and the ability to be able to get into places that you did not think were possible. Because right now, we currently go to like the Russell Center, and I've been to the Russell Center many times, a great event space. But I think that what really brought me in was being able to go into like the industry professional, like the actual offices, and imagine being able to go into Microsoft, being able to go into Google or AWS or Amazon, these big organizations or companies that requires good connections. Those are some things I want to be able to bring to personal and professional development and the Urban League. Just being able to build out ways that you can build your skills and understand the roadmap of where you can grow in your career.
Thank you so much for that. I am going to go to Sade for that same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay, the question is, I would love to hear about your visions for programming during your tenure and how about your plans for organizational growth.
Yeah, I love that question because I believe we do need to be more innovative when it comes to programming. Let's just look at 2025 alone. We have a challenge ahead, right? So over 450 voters will be purged this year from Georgia. And on top of that, if you look at people who look like us, ages 18 to 39, we have about, I think it's almost 100,000 that are inactive voters. So it's making sure that we are hosting events like, let's just say we do a back to school drive. We're checking their voter registration status. We're making sure that they're registered. You know, another innovative way is looking at social media, and I'm not just talking about Instagram and TikTok, right? When you look at something like how I've discovered in my past couple years under my role as a communication strategist, video game industry, that hits the Black community a lot more than I thought. There are a lot of us out there that are gamers. So how can we use Twitch as an avenue to connect with those who are already on streamers as on Twitch, to connect with our community, to let them know what's going on, and to also let them know about the elections that might not be so fabulous as a presidential or a Senate race, right? So right now we have a public service commission. We can use a program where we're streaming live on Twitch to talk about that type of election.
Thank you so much for that. And you actually have two questions that came up in the chat, so I'll stick with you for a
Okay.
little bit longer.
Yes.
The first the first question is, other than supporting the affiliate initiatives, what should YP focus on to increase political engagement among members and non-members?
Yeah, and you know what? I will say, we are going through a tough year. Okay. I think everyone has said that in their opening. And so, a lot of the things we do, not just the affiliate, but also the national, right, is, what we should focus on moving forward. But to target those who are younger is making sure we're just simply reaching out to those who may have either lost their job or they're, a government employee, and connecting with them and seeing just how they're doing. Other initiatives we should do is, again, continuing our education through social media, and making sure we're hitting those messages that matter the most to young professionals like ourselves.
Thank you so much for that. And the final question is, what local organizations should YP consider working with?
Yeah, I love this question too because I'm an Instagram stalker. I have no shame in my game, y'all. So as a Instagram stalker, one group that I've noticed that aligns very well with our mission, when it comes to economic development, is the Atlantic Civic Circle. They are a group where it is a nonprofit organization, but they are journalists, and they talk about housing in Atlanta and affordability in Atlanta. I think that is a great group that we should connect with. Another group that has come to my attention, because of something I'm working on right now, is CRG. Although they focus on getting a younger audience civically engaged and involved, that's an opportunity not only to connect with them on our programming, and basically our mission, right? But it's also another way to find potential members along the way. And then the last group I will mention, just because of the fact that they have been on it when it comes to education, I think just doing a simple collaboration with them, whether that's through an event or through our communication, is Progressive Georgia. They have several chapters in Metro Atlanta alone. And I feel like that is another group where we can align with them and work with them, in order to get the message out. Because again, in Georgia alone, outside of what's going on in the United States, there are also other issues going on that we do need to focus and prioritize on. And those three groups do hit those priorities.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to jump over to Mr. Hill. I'm just going to give you the same question that was in the registration. So I would love to hear about your visions for programming during your tenure and any plans.
I'm sorry, you cut out there that kind of in the middle there. Would you mind repeating that one more time for me?
Of course, any plans for programming during your tenure and organizational growth?
Gotcha. So, being over the committee chairs for vice president, you have a hand in a lot of different initiatives, and each administration bringing in new committee chairs brings in new ideas. So, I want to foster those new ideas, be able to find new ways to connect to our membership, connect to our community, and be able to have that great impact. Being able to create these different programs that connect with our ever changing membership body and the climate of Atlanta is essential for growth of the organization and continued success and legacy. Being able to also elevate our signature programs is something that I want to make sure that we ensure allows us to stay relevant and also be able to invigorate some of our established events to continue to grow that membership based on those names of people understanding that those are key events around the city that people look forward to every year. Retaining membership is, a nationwide initiative for the Urban League and for a number of different organizations around the nation as we are in this climate where we are much more online and not in person and doing different things with each other, but still seeing the need that we have in the community and being a lot of different avenues to try and reach some of our similar goals, but being able to understand and have those that cross range of generations that we reach in our membership, having those different priorities is what makes our membership so wonderful, and being able to have that difference and being able to connect with those different members and always finding new ways where we can feel our members are getting the most out of the membership, but also having the greatest impact in our community. So whether that's through surveys, new partnerships with different organizations, new different events, and expanding our different community events that we already have to allow us to reach new people, and also being able to be that conduit to allow people to create bigger impact, because we do have the systems and organizational methods to be able to grow what they want to see and be in the community.
Thank you so much for that. So we are coming to the end of our programming today. We aren't going to be able to get to Secretary Noble and parliamentary them via Slack or through the Urban League Instagram. And at this time, thank you so much for being with us. And I'm going to throw it back to our moderator.
Thank you. We had one question come to me, and it is for presidents and VP. I know we have 5 minutes, so please keep them to one. So it says, we've talked about the legacy of leadership, and you've mentioned our impact in Atlanta, but please touch on how you plan to ensure that ULGA-YP remains a respected chapter within NULYP in the Southern region.
All right, I can jump in here. Again, thank you for that question. And so absolutely, the way that we can do that and continue to remain a respected chapter. I mean, we are three peats of Southern chapter, a Southern region chapter of excellence. And I don't think that's by accident. I think that is by just a testament to the work that we've been able to do within NULYP. I'm also very proud also of the current chapter representation on NULYP committees. So making sure that we are very that opportunity is certainly open and presented to everyone, so that folks can plug in and engage and really understand what NULYP represents and what they do. Last thing is sister chapter support, just making sure that we're showing up for our sister chapters in a meaningful way. I can remember early on in my time in YP, we took that road trip up to Charlotte to support their winter soiree. So just making sure we're doing things like that, showing up for each other, making sure we're involved in YP Essentials, and making sure that we have strong committee representation among our membership, I think will help us, will go a long way to help us to make sure we continue to have that influence.
Thank you. Anyone else? That was to the president and VP.
I can take the question next. Could you repeat the question one more time for me?
Yeah. It says, we talked about legacy of leadership, and you've mentioned our impact in Atlanta, but please touch on how you plan to ensure that ULGA-YP remains a respected chapter within NULYP and the Southern region.
Okay. So to maintain respect, we must start at impact. And the first line for us to improve our impact is, you've heard me say it on this call previously, is through membership. And that affects how we are able to show our impact to sponsors, to show how much we're able to give to the affiliate. It impacts the impact we're able to make within our own community, who's showing up for service. And it goes towards our impact for intermember connections. What networks are we putting them in? What community are they able to build? Our membership is at the base and root of everything we do. So to remain respectable amongst our sister chapters and national, again, we should reinvest in membership and making sure that they are getting a return on their investment. So then we can show the impact that we're making nationally.
Thank you.
All right. And from my side, I mean, I think both candidates gave a really, really great answer to that. And, I think, I want to say you guys stole my thunder there, but, it's all a team thing here. But I really feel that I really believe in the things that they spoke on there, But just continuing what we've done as far as continuing that we have participation on the national level from our membership as well as on our executive board, being a part of different programs at the affiliate, as well as the National Urban Young Professionals, as well as the National Urban League, the different programs and initiatives they have there, being able to make sure that we have a voice and a seat at those tables to make sure that we are not only influencing Atlanta, but also influencing the overall movement and organization and what we want to see us grow and be able to have that line of legacy continue there. Also, from just continuing being better at sharing our story with our data and being able to share that with Atlanta. I think that's been a great testament to what we've done during this last administration. And you've seen that over time as well, of being able to show in Atlanta where we are, what we're doing, and how to continue growing that over time. And so that is something that we will continue to develop. We will continue to grow that area. And then we also want to make sure that it's developing our individuals to be those community leaders outside of just the Urban League. And so we want them to start here. We want them to continue to grow and grow even larger than this. If you look at our history, we have numbers of individuals since 2001 that have been, everything from politicians to CEOs to, different affiliate leads into different areas across not only Georgia, but around the nation as well. So being able to say that and be able to continue fostering and developing those individuals within our ranks, and then being able to continue seeing that continues our legacy of being able to have that same level of respect in Atlanta as well on the national level.
Thank you. Huge thank you to all the candidates who are here tonight and those who submitted a video for sharing your visions and perspectives with us tonight. We thank you to our members for your active participation in this important process. Of course, your engagement is what makes ULGA-YP strong. A few upcoming dates to remember. The in-person candidate mixer is next Friday, April 25th at Hip and Hops Brewery from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. You can RSVP from the Linktree, linktree.com/ULGA-YP. We also have the annual May general body meeting in which candidates will have another opportunity to address the membership body. That meeting is Monday, May 5th at 6:30 p.m. at Rice. RSVP will be done through Ticket Falcon, and polls will close that day at 8:00 p.m. Eastern. I misquoted the Linktree. You can get to it from linktree.com/ULGA-YP or linker.ee/ULGA-YP. Both will get you there. And last but not least, please be sure to exercise your right to vote and help shape the future of our organization. This concludes our forum. Good night, everyone.